Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel today, guys, for the latest TalkFCB therapy session. Because today we're going to be talking about Barca's 4-2 defeat to Girona. And specifically we're going to be talking about Xavi's words after the game when he claimed this was not a bad performance from the team. We're going to be talking about his quotes, then we're going to be going over some stats before arriving at our conclusion, analysing both our attack and our defence. And today, guys, it's brutal honesty. We are talking about the facts. It's coming right up. So let's do it. Because let's indeed kick off then with the words of Xavi after the game last night. Because he came out immediately and said, I think the match was even. It was decided by small details. We lacked effectiveness and defensive errors cost us. But we played well in the game. We had 30-odd shots in this match. So Xavi there already saying, okay, it was even between the two teams. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think it was an even match with both teams playing at a similar level with nothing really to separate them except the small details? Is that the way that you feel? Let me know in the comments down below, because Xavi went on to say it is a disastrous result, but the performance was not disastrous. This is the reality. He said, we are a Barca team in construction, and these things happen when you're building. You take one step back, hopefully, to take two forward. Now, I have so many problems with this quote, because I do not like this at all. It almost sounds as though we're excusing this result. We're saying we've conceded 4 to Girona, we've lost 4-2 at home, but it's okay because we're in construction. These things happen. How much longer are we going to use that excuse? Are Girona in construction? Did they care about that when they turned up at the stadium yesterday? No, they delivered, they performed. Why aren't we doing the same? And it's not one step back to take 2 steps forward, it's 1 forward if we're lucky, and at least 2 back. So let's get that right straight off the bat. Because then Xavi said, today things didn't come off for us, but on another day they could have. We're angry because we had the game in our hands, but it was not a bad performance. We have to be more clinical, and we have to be more solid in defence. So that is numerous quotes there. A number of times Xavi has said, look, it's not a bad performance. We did not play badly. We were in the game, and it was very, very even. So in Xavi's mind, this is not too bad. This has not been a disastrous game. This is not a game to look at with too much negativity. But I just find that hard to believe right now, guys. And I don't think we can keep coming out consistently after bad games, bad results, and saying, oh, well, we only lost because we couldn't score as many as we should have, and they only scored because we made defensive errors. That is literally the point of the game. That is literally what football is all about. You have to take the chances that you get, and you have to defend well to keep your opponent out. If you don't do those things, shock horror, you won't succeed. You won't play well. You won't win games. And I don't think we can use it as an excuse here, because how many times have we been in this situation? At the end of the day, it's our job to be better. It's our job to be more efficient, to be more solid at the back. And the fact that we're not, it reflects badly on the players. It reflects badly on the coach, because we must be better. Because take Girona here as an example. You know, do you see them making excuses? Do you see them there feeling a bit sorry for themselves? And I don't believe it was an even game, because if you watch it, you look at the two teams there, Girona, they were much more calculated in their play. They were much more efficient. They were stronger. They were more solid at the back. Barca may have had more of the ball in this game, but you felt as though Girona were actually the team who had more control. They actually felt as though they were in control of what was happening. They understood their game plan perfectly. They kept the ball when they wanted to. They moved it with pace. They moved as a team with real speed, but they also sat off when they also felt that was required, and everything about Girona felt organised, cohesive. Every player understood their role, and I think that's the most concerning thing, because you look at a game like this, it's not one of those games where you can say, oh, but the opponent, they got better players than us. They've spent more money than we have. It's not one of those occasions. They simply look like a team that had been better coached. You look at Barca, you look at the second half, it was an absolute mess. We were all over the place, and that cannot happen. Because I did think it was interesting, guys. I've got to say, after the game there, SofaScore, our good friends, of course, thank you all of you guys who have been downloading the app there. They came out with lots of stats about the way that Barca attacked in this game, about the fact that we had there the most XG, expected goals accumulated, in one match in 2023. We had the most attempts, we had the most touches in the opposition box, and still we ended up losing this game. And I would argue there that the chances, they were there. You cannot deny we should have scored more goals. We should have done that on multiple occasions this season. Our finishing is dreadful. There's no other word to describe it. And we must be probably the least clinical team in Europe this season. I understand, I fully understand Xavi's frustration because of that. But this is my problem. Because even say we did actually score last night, say we put away more of those chances, say for instance Lewandowski scored that header to make it 3-3, would that really have transformed this game? Would it have suddenly made it a positive game for Barca? Would we suddenly have shown really good signs? Because that wouldn't have changed for me the way that we look, the disorganisation, the fact that for the large majority of this game, Girona looks superior to us in terms of their football. If anything, had we scored, had we gotten a late goal, had Lewandowski scored that equaliser, probably it would have papered over the cracks. So as much as we did have chances, we had opportunities to score and we should have done it more, it still doesn't fix things. It still doesn't mean that everything would have been okay again, because what we are seeing throughout the games, it's not Barca. It is not good enough. Because these are the facts, guys. These are the cold, hard facts right now. Do you know the last time that Barca won a game with a margin of more than one goal? It was the 19th of September. In September against Antwerp. At home, 15 games ago. 15, nearly 3 months of football have gone by without Barca winning a game by more than a 1-goal margin. And even throughout the whole season so far, we have only won by more than 1 goal 3 times in 21 games against Cadiz, against Betis, and against Antwerp. And that is why there can be no excuses here. This is not just about one game. It's not just something here whereby it's gone wrong and we can bounce back and forget that even happened. This is a repeat pattern. We are seeing repeat poor performances. We're seeing the same problems week in, week out. And if we keep making excuses, we've said it here before, things simply will not change. Because then there's the defensive side of things, guys. And honestly, I'd actually make the argument too, with these huge XG numbers we're seeing in favour of Barca, the huge amount of shots that we've had, on paper it all looks great. It seems as though we're moving in the right direction, so good going forward. But I'd also argue it is so much easier to pile on the shots and create the chances when you're effectively throwing everybody forward, throwing caution to the wind there without a care in the world at the back. That's what we did yesterday. That's what we did in the second half. As the game goes on, we just send everybody forward in a sort of chaotic manner. Because let's not forget here, guys, regardless of these missed chances, we conceded 4 goals. We conceded 4 goals at home against Girona. I mean, come on. This is unacceptable. And I think the moment, by the way, that there stops becoming alarming, stops becoming very concerning, that's when we've got a serious problem. If we're conceding 4 goals at home to Girona and we're saying, actually, it wasn't that bad, it was pretty good performance from Barca, this is actually quite good, that is not okay. We have a massive problem if suddenly this is good. Because last season, Barca conceded 18 goals after 37 matches of play. This season, we have already conceded 18 after just 16 league games. And clearly, guys, something has gone wrong there. In terms of the defensive side of our team, the way the team is set up, we are simply unbalanced right now. There is no structure about the way that we defend. There's individual problems as well with players, and right now it is absolutely chaos at the back. And I just feel as though whenever we play a team with even a tiny amount of intelligence, they can cut us apart on the counter-attack. As a team, Barca, we do not defend counter-attacking situations. We push our players on, the full-backs go forward, the centre-backs are high. There is no plan once we lose the ball. Once we lose the ball, we are all at sea. Teams can take advantage of us. We've seen it last night with Girona, time and time again. They were able to get in behind. It's a constant pattern that we keep on seeing, and we are such an easy team, ultimately, to play against. So what on earth happens now? That's the question. Where do we go from here again? Because it's the same situation, guys, whereby we thought against Atletico Madrid that we got a few things worked out. We were looking to kick on and move forward from that moment, and we've fallen apart. At the very first hurdle, we couldn't handle it. Where do we go from here? Can things improve? Yeah, they can. Of course they can. You know, we got players there. We've even got players arriving. I would look at Vitor Roque in January and I would say, can he improve our efficiency in front of goal? Either directly, in terms of he himself scoring goals for Barca, or simply by him being there. His mere presence may put some really necessary pressure on Robert Lewandowski. But even when you're thinking about that right there, it's a big ask. These are big expectations here to place on the shoulders of an 18-year-old player. He's never played in Europe before. He's not yet played for Barca. We cannot expect him really to single-handedly turn around our fortunes, because I just think it's more than that right now. I personally believe, guys, that Xavi needs a serious rethink. He needs to sit down and think, okay, how do I actually want to play? What is my plan? What is the genuine idea and philosophy that I have for my team? Because I think so far, we haven't seen anything concrete. From one game to the next, we place a lot of emphasis on hoping that things go right. We just hope that something falls into place. What's the plan? When are we going to have a concrete idea about the way that we set our team up, with the ball and without the ball? There has to be more understanding with the players. They must understand their roles more. They must actually look comfortable in them. And there has to be more organisation about this team, more cohesion. But this is the biggest problem, and this is the one thing that I cannot avoid right now. Xavi thinks this is good. Xavi thought this game was perfectly fine. So what is going to change? How are we going to get the improvement? How are we actually going to sit down and start asking some serious questions when actually the coach thinks this is okay? We have to do better. We have to demand more of ourselves. There's so much more in there. There's so much more that we can get out of this Barca team. But when are we going to do it? There's massive games to come. Every game now, there is big pressure again. We must do better. So indeed, guys, do let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. This was a therapy session. It was also a bit of a shouting match. You know, I know that things can get emotional and maybe, you know, it's only one game. Are we overreacting off the back of that? But I'm just sick and tired of it, guys. I really am now. Throughout the season so far, how many times have we had to sit down and watch Barca underperform? And then, not only underperform, but then go and hear excuses after it's happened. We have to do something. Something has to give right now. And do let me know all of your thoughts, all of your feelings down below. Brutal honesty is required. I will see you soon. There will be more on the way. A big week coming up for Barca yet again. But until next time, guys, as always, Visca El Barça.